All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 26th of July, 2023, and this is the Cluster API project meeting. Cluster API is a sub-project of Kubernetes SIGs, and as such, we follow their meeting guidelines, which basically means please treat everyone as you would expect to be treated, and explicitly, please be kind to each other. And also, if you would like to talk, please raise your hand and I will call on you. So at the beginning of our meetings, we generally make some time for new attendees who would like to introduce themselves to do so. So I will be quiet for about a minute or two. And if anyone would like to, please feel free to unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So I'll start. My name is Aditya, and I work for VMware. I am new to the project in the sense that I've had some background of using Cluster API for our upgrade scenarios, but I'm keen on contributing upstream now and to see what's happening in the upstream space when it comes to our own vSphere and Cluster API.
Welcome aboard, Aditya. It's great to hear, and yeah, happy to have you.
Thanks.
All right, I am not seeing anyone else unmuting, so we will move on with the rest of the meeting. So after our welcome, we usually look at the open proposal readouts. I think we only have one open proposal, and I don't think anyone is here to speak about it. Yeah, so I don't see Richard or Fabrizio, so we will move on to the regular agenda. So first and only item right now is Guillermo with the CAPI 1.5.0 release. So please, Guillermo, take it away.
Yeah, so yesterday we released the new minor version 1.5 and then patches for 1.4 and 1.3. The release notes are there. So yeah, just announce that, and thank you to all contributors, maintainers, and the release team. They've been doing a great job and working very hard to get this out of the door.
All right, awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a big release. And yeah, I will second what you said, Guillermo, like big kudos to the release team. Thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. So that is the last regular discussion topic. I don't, please feel free to add something if you have something. Otherwise, we'll go on to the provider updates. So Christian, you've got an update about CAPV, please.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to announce that we just released the V1 8.0 beta.0 for CAPV after the release yesterday of CAPI. So yeah, meant for early consumption, and yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. And CAPV, way to be quick on the release there, already including 1.5.0. So that's awesome. I see Matt is busily adding something for CAPZ. So please, Matt, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I just in time added this, obviously, because maybe this is useful to someone. We have been working on vendoring CAPI 1.5 release candidates in, and there was a lot of change thanks to controller runtime, but it's all worked out. And the very last thing that we're having problems with is the new Docker dependency conflicts with if you've also vendored in Helm itself, which I know Stefan knew that, because essentially the way CAPI worked around it is by not importing Helm because there wasn't a lot of significant usage. We may also take that approach, but unfortunately, or for better or worse, we're using Helm fairly heavily in our code base. And as far as I can tell, there isn't any simpler way around it. If people know of a way around this vendoring issue, I'd love to hear it, but we're at this point planning on not importing Helm so that we can update to CAPI 1.5. And actually 1.4.5 is presenting the same problem to us.
Stefan,
I knew you'd have something to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Stefan.
Yeah, I guess there's one alternative, but you won't like it, which is probably staying on Go 125. but I think there are like security fixes in 126. So if I remember correctly, basically the issue is only triggered by actually using latest Go in combination with old Docker. That doesn't really help.
That's true, but then we can't, just updating the CAPI 1.5 or 1.45, for us at least, requires that Go mod bring in the new Docker.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
But we're also
but
sticking with Go 1.25 in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can essentially, theoretically, pin Docker to an older version. But you probably also needed to run the conformance tests because there was this issue in so our conformance tests are also using the Docker library to start a conformance container, and that one will also fail with the latest Docker version. Yeah, so there's really no way around it. Again, you have to use the latest Docker.
Yeah, we'll get around it. Go ahead, Cecile.
Yeah, I was just wondering if Stefan, maybe you or someone else could give a quick summary of what happened with like Docker and the Go version, et cetera, because I think not everyone might have been following from up close and have context on that.
Yeah, I can give it a try. I didn't really read up the details, but what we noticed towards end of last week is basically I was running capd locally, and it stopped working. And the problem was that when we tried to exec into a Docker container, we got an error, like something with headers essentially. And if I'm connecting the dots correctly, they made a change in Go 126, maybe even one of the security changes, to sanitize headers or something. And the older Docker versions are not working anymore with that change in Go. Bumping to the Go version that we're now using basically works again in combination with Go. And I don't know if that's also relevant for anyone here, but on top of all of that, no, it's not actually the Go version, but we were also hitting a problem with what's the name? Basically with the base image that we use in Tilt distroness. So they were starting to have some sort of a glibc issue, which is, yeah, but that's totally unrelated. That's just if you had some weird glibc issues in combination with Delph, maybe ping us somewhere and we can cross-reference. Yeah, but that's all I know about the Go thing. I think it's basically just a combination of Go 126 with older Docker. Yeah, sorry, a follow-up. So one thing was that capd didn't work, but we essentially had the same issue in our end-to-end test framework, and that was the one place where we used also Docker library again to first start, and then I think probably exec into our attach or something into the conformance test container, and that just gave us the same error message that capd gave us during its normal operation.
Cecile, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Stefan. That helps a lot. I think for CAPZ, I don't know about other providers, but for CAPZ, we use the CAPI framework for running conformance. And so our conformance tests are definitely failing. I think the way that Matt worked around it for now is just reverting the kubekins image updates to get us back to Go 125 for now. And the goal was to get CAPI vendored in so that we can then bump back the image. Issue is we can't vendor CAPI right now. So have to work around that.
Stefan, please.
Yeah, and what is even more annoying and maybe not directly clear, this pretty much affects all the release branches you have, not just the latest stuff. So in CAPB, we just basically bumped Docker in all our supported release branches to get rid of this problem. And we also bumped Docker independent of bumping CAPI. We just, yeah, we did one round of Docker bumps to get the conformance CI jobs back to green. And then on main, we just bumped to CAPI.
All right, this is like some really good information, and thank you to Nolan and Christian for adding some notes into the agenda about this as well. There's a couple links there if people would like to read up more about this. There's the cluster API issue that Stefan raised that had the kind of the changes that we were going through. And then there's also a link to the Moby issue in the upstream, which is the Docker project name now. So if anyone's curious, there are some links in the agenda to that. So that brings us to the end of our regularly scheduled agenda here. I'll give folks a few seconds to think if there's any sort of last minute topics or ad hoc agenda items people might want to talk about. Otherwise, we'll take back about 45 minutes of our day here. So 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm not seeing any hands or anything. So thanks for coming out, everyone. And we'll see you next week.